So hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Question Block. And the last question was, what is your favorite new aspect of the Thousand Year Door remake so far? So yeah, the Thousand Year Door remake is adding quite a lot in terms of quality of life updates, visual updates, and various things like that, and it looks absolutely amazing, and I am beyond excited for it, since it's my favorite game of all time after all. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the comments here. So Fawful the Great 64 said, the concept art. And I absolutely agree. I am so glad that they're adding a concept art gallery in the remake here. And it's not just concept art of the remake. It's also concept art of the original game. Like, we saw that Desmond's early designs were from 2003, which is really cool. And we also saw some of Flurry's older designs as well, like notably the one where she was originally meant to be a bulb, as well as like a bird, and then like an early version of her wind spirit design. So I think that is really cool that we're gonna get like early designs of all of these characters, like Vivian, Goombella, Koops. I am so excited to see these, and I think it's just like great that the Paper Mario series has been doing these concept art galleries in general, since we got to learn a lot about Color Splash and Origami King's development through these like early designs and everything. So I think that's just amazing that they've been doing that. And I hope, like with the Thousand Year Door concept art gallery, I hope I get some of Mario's older designs, like some of the sprites that we saw, like that were actually found in the files that were based on the Paper Mario 64 design. And I hope we get like some of those Paper Mario 64-esque designs for some of the other characters as well. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, I'm also glad about how they're handling this as well. You're basically gonna unlock these by finding like different star pieces and shine sprites, which I think is a pretty cool way of incorporating them, like beyond their use already of getting badges and upgrading partners. I think it's really cool that they also have another use. So they're actually very similar to how you find like toads in the overworld in Origami King, since those technically had multiple uses as well. So I think that's really cool. And you could also access it from the journal as well, which is also another cool feature, since you don't have to walk all the way to like a museum to look at them. And the menu looks a little faster and more intuitive than it was in Color Splash and Origami King. So I think that's great that you can like access that from any time. And I hope they do that in future Paper Mario games as well. Though I would like to see a museum as well, like for the whole aesthetic, because that would still be cool, but I think it should be like accessed from the menu as well. But moving on, Clifford Longhead said, the magic map adding colors with the new location in the fast travel system, and also the new badge that allows players to listen to the classic music. Yeah, the magical map, like having new locations, is really cool, and I really like that they're kind of making it more detailed now. Like the Rogueport Sewers, Schwank Fortress, Excess Express, and Riverside Station are the new areas that they added there. So I think it's really cool that they're fleshing it out even more. And yeah, I think that's just great in general that they're kind of like adding to that and everything. Since I do feel like the magical map didn't really have enough locations on it in the original game, so it makes a lot of sense that they're adding more things to it in the remake. And the fast travel system is also great as well. It kind of takes like a page from Origami King, since it's very similar to how that worked, since it had basically kind of like a circle of pipes from the different areas. So I think that's really cool that they're doing that. And I think that's definitely going to help things like the General Light mission, or like Troubles, or going back to find like star pieces and shine sprites and different things like that, or also filling out the catalog. So I think that's great that they're kind of adding like these pipes. Like in the original game, I feel like it wasn't as intuitive. Like you kind of had to memorize which pipe took you to certain areas, and it also was just kind of weird with how they implemented it. So I am so glad that they're improving that system in the remake. But yeah, and I'm also glad that they're adding the new badge as well. I'm gonna get into it a little more with another comment that elaborates more on the music, but I'm just so glad that they're adding it. So, Kaiden said, my favorite new aspect of the Thousand Year Door remake so far would have to be the soundtrack. I really love that they've taken the battle themes and changed it to where it would be different in each area. Not to mention the boss music sounds so good. I'm looking forward to hearing more of the soundtrack once the game releases. Yeah, the soundtrack in the remake so far sounds absolutely incredible. Like, they're definitely taking the level of detail that they had in Origami King, and by extension a little bit of Color Splash, and applying it to Thousand Year Door. I already loved the original soundtrack in Thousand Year Door, but it did sound like a little bit lackluster in some areas, even though it is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. I am just so glad that the remake is taking it above and beyond, like adding new songs. Like, each of the partners now have like an introduction song, which is amazing. And like some little moments have new music as well. Like when you encounter like one of the chest demons, it plays like like before the music plays when you actually get cursed. Like when you actually encounter the chest, it plays like a new theme. It kind of reminds me of like the Thousand Fold Arms music a little bit in Origami King. But I think it's really cool that they're adding like all these little things. It really seems like they're adding like dozens of new tracks here. And it's just incredible. And the new battle themes are also amazing as well. It does basically what Origami King does, and it kind of like heavily remixes the main theme to fit like the style of the area that you're in. And so far, they've done it for like multiple different areas. Like they did it for like Hooktail's Castle, so not even like all of Chapter 1 will have the same battle theme, which I think is really cool. And it's definitely gonna like help, like, it's definitely going to help fit the mood of a lot of these areas. And, like, Hooktail's Castle, that's great that that has a battle theme, as well as the Boggly Woods has one, and the Glitz Pit has a battle theme, and I think Chapter 4, that's the one that we heard in the overview trailer. And yeah, it just sounds absolutely incredible, and I'm really looking forward to hearing, like, these other area battle themes. This is the one thing from Origami King that I am so glad that they're adding. Like, it fits Thousand Year Door so well to have, like, stylized music in, like, each of the areas, and I am just really looking forward to that. And the boss themes, like, so far from what we've heard, like Hooktail, the event battle theme, the tutorial battle theme, they also sound amazing as well. So I'm really looking forward to how, like, hearing how the other ones sound in the remake. But yeah. So, moving on, One Piece fan said, I wouldn't call this an aspect, but there is a small detail that I love. And that is when you enter a battle, the enemies have their own fighting pose. Yeah, that is really cool. And that kind of goes off of another point that I'm, like, really excited about the remake. And it's the fact that they're going all out with the animations and expressions and poses. And, like, the fact that they have, like, a little battle pose, like, each of the enemies have, like, a different one, like, the Goombas kind of, like, have a certain look, and, like, Spinias, Spanias, Koopas, different things like that. It looks really cool, like, when you're entering a battle and everything. So it's really cool to see, like, all of these new animations and fighting poses for different enemies. And there's even, like, a few other things that they're doing as well. Like, the enemies, like, laugh at you when you get hit by, like, a stage hazard. So I think that's really cool that they're adding, like, all of this attention to detail in terms of, like, character expressions and everything. But yeah, moving on, Jaden the Red Fox said, actual save files. As a Color Splash and Origami King speedrunner, it's incredibly annoying to need to go into the system settings to delete your save just to reset the run. I'm so glad that they went back to the old way that they did save files from 64 the Sticker Star. Yeah, that is definitely one, like, kind of underappreciated feature that they're kind of adding back in Thousand Year Door. I know it was in the original version, so some people may say, like, why would they remove that if this is an incredibly faithful remake? But the thing is, I feel like Nintendo can be kind of weird sometimes. In like a lot of recent games, they have been removing like save files for games. And I was thinking, since this is very likely running on the Color Splash and Origami King engine, I was thinking they would probably do save files by like your user profile. So I am so glad that they're actually doing it like how the original game did it. That is just very convenient. But I am a little disappointed that you can't name the save files anymore, so you can kind of keep track of them. But that's not really that big of a deal. I'm just glad that the save files are returning in general. So yeah, PT said, my favorite new feature from the Thousand Year Door so far is the sound gallery. As a video game music enthusiast and a lover of this game's music, I'm very happy that they finally provide a convenient way of listening to this game's soundtrack. This makes me wonder if this gallery includes the Nostalgic Tunes soundtrack and would be published on third-party streaming services. Yeah, I'm glad that they're adding a sound test here, since like that's another feature that was in the modern Paper Mario games. I think that was even introduced in Sticker Star, even though it was like incredibly limited in Sticker Star, like everything in that game. But yeah, I'm just so glad that they're adding it, and it's also very convenient as well. Like the other games, it was in the museum, and this time, like the concept art gallery, it's in the menu, which is just really cool, once again, so you could just like boot up the game and quickly listen to the music. I think that's really cool. I know you could technically listen to it like through YouTube and everything, but it's still cool to like access it from the game. Like if you're playing the game and you're like, oh, I feel like listening to one of the songs for a little bit, you could just like pull up the sound test and everything. So I think that's great that they're adding it. And I think it's great, like, that they're, just, like, adding the Nostalgic Tunes badge in general. And I know Clifford Long had brought up this point as well, but I think it's great that you could actually switch to the classic music. Like, if... I know that, like, the remix music is gonna sound incredible, but I do like the option. Like, if some people want to listen to the classic music, they can. I was a little worried that they weren't going to add this feature. Like, since this remake seems to be, like, such a huge overhaul, I wasn't sure they were going to add, like, so many features. But they are! They are adding so many quality of life features. And I think it's just great in general that you'll be able to, like, switch it back to the old soundtrack and everything. And it's cool that it's, like, a little GameCube badge as well. That's pretty cute. But yeah, I also hope that they add the Nostalgic Tunes like sounds to the soundtrack as well. I think they probably will. Like, since Super Mario RPG also had that in the sound test, I'm thinking that they will probably do it in the Thousand Year Door remake. But yeah, anyways, the next question is, what is your favorite boss in the Paper Mario series? So yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Twitter if you want to. Goodbye.